Welcome back to the agenda with your Missoula County Commissioners. I'm here with my fellow County Commissioner Dave Strohmeyer. Josh Lotnick is out this week. And today we're joined by Billy Brown, Fairgrounds Events and Operations Manager. So Billy is in the midst of a very, very busy month leading up to Western Montana Fair. So thanks so much for your generosity, and welcome back to the podcast, Billy.
Thanks.
Well, before we dive into the nuts and bolts of what I think a lot of folks are probably interested in, the upcoming Western Montana Fair, maybe give a reminder to folks who may be hearing from you for the first time, just who you are, how you got into the role that you're in now, and why you love doing what you're doing, which I'm assuming you still love what you're doing, but I will not presume that.
Yes, I'm originally from Miles City, so the only two things we had going on in town were the Bucking Horse Sale and then the Eastern Montana Fair.
Bucking Horse Sale is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And so then I went to college and I judged livestock, but I actually got a degree in graphic design and marketing. And since I was trapped in Kansas and there was no public land there, I had to find something to do, and that's when I joined my first fair board as a volunteer. And then I became a private consultant and started doing events when I moved back to Montana. So I started with beer festivals and conferences and some wildlife expositions and conventions, and then saw the position here in Missoula and thought, heck no, I ain't going to apply for that job because I know exactly how tired I'm going to be, but it is interesting to get paid for this for the first time. So.
And what year was that? I'm trying to remember.
I came here in December of 2019, so my first fair was the COVID Fair 2020, and then of course I was the lucky recipient with our crew here to unveil the finished, renovated fairgrounds in 2021.
Which was an amazing fair. Oh, that was...
Yeah.
And every fair since has been amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah, all of them record-breaking, so we look to do it again with a new expanded fair.
Well, speaking of which, tell us about the new and expanded fair this year.
Starting in July. Very exciting.
Yeah, tell us the dates, what folks can expect to see, and all of that.
Well, it's not about making the fair bigger, honestly. It's about making the line shorter, because we've been so lucky and so successful in the past that we decided to work with our partners, our volunteers, and our nonprofit fabulous food trucks such as the Vikings and the Corn on the Cob folks, to get to where we could maybe do 8 days, because we know that people are more free to come out on the weekends. And this gives us an opportunity with the two formats that we're proposing and we're doing this year. The first weekend of the fair will be everything you can think of with the trades and mechanical to introduce a new audience.
And what's the date of that first weekend?
July 31st to August 2nd.
Okay.
Then we follow up. We close down on Monday to reset, move all the livestock in, and then we go from Tuesday to Saturday with the traditional of what folks think of the fair with the livestock shows and the rodeo. So again, the fairgrounds mission is about community connection and bringing a diverse, eclectic group of folks together where they are mixing together and remembering that they have 80% more in common than they do than the 20% that we usually focus on in differences.
And give us an example of kind of that eclectic mix.
Sure. So, like, for instance, one of the volunteer groups we work with for ticket scanning for the entire 8 days of the fair is Queer Prom. And so they're the ones that are checking credentials when you walk into the grandstands for the rodeo and for Lords of Dirt. And so that's just, one of the ways that you can take what would be considered maybe both sides of the world and have them working together and find out that they actually work really well.
So I have got to ask it before I forget, and that is, will there be chocolate-covered frozen bananas this year at the fair?
We have failed you.
No! That was just a tease last year. What the heck?
I'm sorry, but if you would like to go to our website, westernmontanafair.com.
Who were the vendors last year? I couldn't remember.
I wasn't sure if they're coming back. I'll have to go look. I can't quite remember. You caught me off guard, but they might be back.
Oh, okay, there is some hope.
We worked really hard to get them here, but yeah, we do. Our fair advisory committee goes through and chooses the food vendors for us every year, and so, yeah, they might be back, but I can't remember off the top of my head if they actually are.
Okay, hope is still in the air, so.
Yeah.
But food obviously is an item that folks need to purchase, as would be tickets to the rodeo, tickets for the carnival rides. Talk to us a little bit about what is free and open to the public, which you can just walk onto the fairgrounds.
That's right. You can bring your own picnic lunch to the Western Montana Fair. We do not care. We just ask that you don't bring your own outside alcohol. So it is a park. It is your park. And you can come and go through the fair at any time. It's free admission. If you do want to go into the grandstands during the day, that is free. If you want to go into the grandstands for the finale of the Lords of Dirt Racing, yeah, that does take a ticket. So with regard to the food sales, though, I'll just tell you those food sales, this is the only time that you're going to see this great selection of food available in Missoula is during the Western Montana Fair. And all those food sales, when you buy from those nonprofits and those local food trucks that we work together with, that money stays in Missoula. It isn't going to a chain or outside food vendor. We have just a couple outside food vendors, but yeah, that's all local.
No, that's great.
And the new thing this year is that we were able to move our live music stage down by the Home Arts building. We've moved all the camping for the carnival workers to the back of the house, and now the carnival, we're getting some additional rides this year, will be at the front of house right on South Avenue, and that allowed us to put in a stage right in the same footprint that you saw at Zootown. So we're going to activate that space, and you no longer have to wait for your free live music till after the rodeo or after racing. Free live music starts at 7 p.m. So grab a great meal, sit down, choose between your nightly entertainment for the next 8 days, July 31st to August 8th. It's all available to you.
That's so great. Okay, you mentioned the carnival rides. So how do safety inspections work for carnival rides?
So in the carnival world, there are only 6 states that aren't regulated for carnival rides. And what I mean by that, like in the state of California, they actually have someone who works for the state, inspects the rides, and then stamps them and says they're good to go out on the road. And Montana and I believe Idaho are 2 of the 6 states that aren't regulated. So we have taken it on ourselves here at Missoula County, and we're fortunate to do that because we're a larger county fair. We hire our own third-party inspector, and he is the best in the world. And so I often get news about what's happening at Disney or, Texas and how they worked around it. So we have him come, and he's on site. He inspects the rides before they're put up and then as they're being put up. And then he does a final run-through with our county risk and benefits officers, taking it off my plate because I sometimes have other things to do. And they go and inspect the rides one last time before they're operated. And then he remains on site, which is very unusual. Most carnival inspectors see it set up and then they leave. He remains on site and he makes sure that if there's any incidents, he's the party reporting to me. And then I can make a decision if that ride is going to go back into operation or not based on his report. I don't have to take the word of the carnival operator. So lucky for us in Missoula, we're able to recruit, because of our large audience attendance, the best in the best carnivals out there. So we do have an A-rated carnival coming from California, and California being the state that has absolutely set the standards on carnival regulation and operations.
You do not want to get on a ride at a C or a D-rated carnival operation. So you mentioned adding a new weekend, another weekend this year. What else might folks expect to see that maybe they didn't see in past years?
Well, we talk about horse racing, and I'm a fan. So we've brought back gaming to the fairgrounds with racing.
Okay, tell us the details here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every night of the first weekend of the Western Montana Fair from July 31st to August 2nd, you have your chance to win $4,000 by attending the final races of Lords of Dirt. So when your racer wins, you win. It's kind of a play on football squares. Have you ever played football squares before?
I have not.
I have not.
It's when you buy some squares during a football game, and then the last digit of the football score at the end of that quarter, someone wins a prize of money. Where in this situation, this plays more on the fact that when you can go to a horse race, you might get a handicapper's list. And this is where you're going to choose from that handicapper's list, and you can relax for the rest of the day because your horses have been picked for you. You don't have to make that walk to the infield and check the horses out yourself. In this case, our motorcycle racers, we often don't know who they are because they qualified earlier that morning. So when you come to the Western Montana Fair this year, you'll buy a racer's card for $20, and we've already drawn your racer. You know who to cheer for at each of the races. And as that racer wins, your card then goes in for another bonus entry into the prize drawing. And so we worked off season with the state all year to come up with this, and so it's a way of bringing gaming back to racing and having someone to cheer with during your Lords of Dirt, which will be changing every night with a different shaped track.
Oh my goodness. So wait, so how many nights of Lords of Dirt then?
There's 3 nights of Lords of Dirt, and we have Keith Sayers, FMX, for the halftime show. Plus, we have some surprise.
On all 3 nights?
All
the
3
halftime,
nights.
Keith Sayer.
Each night. But Lords of Dirt fan draw, where you can grab your race card. It will be offered all 3 nights.
Boy, I'm feeling lucky.
I
don't
am
know
buying
about you.
tickets. Yes. Okay. Tickets can only be purchased, though, July 31st to August 2nd, correct?
Oh, can you purchase them online, or how does this work?
So we moved to a new ticketing platform. So one of the things that you guys might not know about is the fact that carnival passes can now be bought online. We've, in the past at the office, we've taken calls from folks as far away as Butte that want to come and get carnival passes, but they had to be bought in person up until this year. So now you can buy those online. You can buy a day pass. You don't even have to decide what day you're coming to the Western Montana Fair. You just need that one pass, and then you can go and redeem it the day of your choice based on the weather, as most people will do. And then also the week-long pass, which is now, of course, better than a week because we have 8 days of the Western Montana Fair.
How much is a week-long pass?
$100.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
affordable.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then the new thing about the way the tickets in the grandstands are offered, our youth tickets for Lords of Dirt start at $5. Our youth tickets for rodeo start at $12. It used to be you paid $35 rate, and that was for all 6 days of the Western Montana Fair. That's no longer the case. We have rearranged it so that the seats that are front and center are carrying more of the load than the seats that are maybe on the edges and up midway. So it's more affordable and accessible for families, particularly on weeknights. And then when you get into the weekends where we're really selling out, those come at a higher price point.
Is there a youthful rate?
Youthful rate? Yes, it's all youthful. You're all
All right,
living
I
it.
guess maybe a better question is there a senior citizen rate?
Yes,
There is, okay.
military, senior citizen, and youth rates all are there on the website. But the big thing is that you save $10 if you buy before the Western Montana Fair starts up. After July 31st, those tickets will increase by $10 each.
Okay.
Well, we are just a few weeks out from the fair. So what does it look like for you and your team these days? Busy, I suspect.
Yes. Well, actually, the fair starts for us tonight with archery shooting. And then tomorrow is our fair rally where we have all of our safety debriefs with all of our volunteer groups. We all practice the pole sweep, fire extinguisher training. And then we have our first setup to flip the glacier ice rink into a barn for 2 straight weeks. It takes us to set up that.
Wow.
And then we'll open with Lords of Dirt, which gives us a little bit more breathing space than before the livestock shows start on Tuesday.
What's your favorite part of the fair? Your favorite fair food?
Oh, you already know my favorite fair food,
Oh, yes.
but what is yours?
Well, I have like a schedule.
Oh, a schedule of
So
favorites.
like a daily cheese curd, daily corn on the cob, and then I'll usually have protein. I'll have my Viking, but then sometimes I'll switch up to the Indian taco. And then I have to have barbecue, because it's late. I honestly never get to a hamburger, but if I can find a slice of pie, that's great. But I never make it over to Londonderry. I can't wait in that line. So that's why we had to overhaul the fair schedule. Maybe this will be my first Londonderry year.
How about other aspects of the fair, just in terms of, do you have a favorite that you like to visit or work on? Or
Last year, I guess I'll just share this. Obviously, a lot about the fair that I love. My major component is that Saturday night of the bull riding, the PRCA rodeo has wrapped up and no one's hurt. That is my favorite moment. I will finally sleep. But last year, Thursday morning, I think it was, during slack, woke up to just solid rain. And I'm just driving to the fairgrounds, just depressed. And I get to the fairgrounds and I hear all these children's voices just cheering. And it was the most magical thing. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, because it was raining so hard, everybody with a stroller and their young kids had packed into the Klaus Bauer Arena. And what was going on was rodeo slack. So they were seeing full-grown men in their nice starched white shirts getting ready to steer wrestle.
In that mud that was epic.
So they are just gleeful that these grown adults are about to just get absolutely slaughtered in mud. And then, of course, when the gentleman jumps off onto the head of the steer and he's trying to steer wrestle him all the way down, he couldn't get him down because he's just skating basically in mud. And the kids are just yelling, "You can do it! You can do it! You can do it!" And then when he finally flips the steer over, the kids just erupted into yay, and that was what was going on all morning. And that day ended up being, even for the professional rodeo athletes that night. A magical day, because that day also the speakers caught fire for the second time. And
Very exciting.
Yes, we have some wonderful moments in event planning. So the rodeo
speakers, as in what the sound is coming
Yeah.
out of, not someone,
not human beings.
Spontaneous
Yes.
human combustion. Or anything.
But everybody in the rodeo that night, the rodeo started for 10 minutes late because while we watched the gentleman just change those wires out. Everybody knew, and when you're working with livestock particularly, you have these moments where it's like they make the plan and you're just going to have to go along with it. And that was the thing about this night of rodeo. All the professional contractors the next morning that we work with, they were like, that was very magical. That Thursday night in Missoula is just go to hundreds of cities. What was so different about it? And I'm like, I think it started with the rain and the kids. And then it went into this moment where we had this fire and then we all had to kind of improvise and see what was going to happen. But by the time everybody sat down and the rodeo started, they were fully engaged and they were welcoming to see the night go through. And they just said it was just so magical how the audience participated so well in that night. And they remembered it.
That's fantastic. Okay, you're talking about the rodeo, and we've just had a really hot weekend this
I
weekend.
saw the temperatures in Forsyth and Billings and
Oh,
Miles City. It was
Miles
terrible.
City, almost 115 degrees.
Ooh.
So talk to us about animal welfare and the steps that
Sure.
we go through. our
Well,
animal
first and foremost, we're just really lucky in Missoula because we're very particular about working with the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. And, we're lucky to be working with some of the best stock contractors out there. And we do that because we monitor just how does that happen? How are they handling behind the chutes? And these animals are what we call scored, they're prepped, that they've been through the chutes, that it's not their first time to town, as I guess I would say. Also, we take and have our livestock hosted on a ranch off-site when they're not brought in specifically for the performance because we are in the center of the city. Now, the smaller livestock, such as our roping cattle and our mutton busting sheep, they stay on the grounds, and those animals have shade protection and all the access to fresh water and things that they can have. Of course, now, when it's flooding, we have a different option, but because the Western Montana Fair is quite well known now for raining. For livestock within the 4-H world, this new format of the 8-day fair has made it so that the livestock rolls in on Monday, which is a closed day to the public. So the livestock comes in private. They stay only 5 days instead of 6 now, and they roll out on Sunday morning instead of Sunday evening, and we can do that in private, and that's just so much
Less
more
stressful.
relaxed. Yeah. So this whole new format is checking a lot of boxes for us, and we're very excited about it. And it also is a roadmap if we ever want to go to 10, which you guys should think of.
and talk more about the quality of our livestock handling at the rodeo and how it's maybe different than other rodeos.
Sure. When you're working with professional rodeo stock contractors, they are in themselves their own watchdog group. They monitor each other to make sure that we're all at the top of the game of how livestock is handled, low stress, and part of their family. So back in the days of bucking horse sale, it used to be a horse that was brought in from the range. Maybe it's shown the chute for the first time and it's being bucked out. And in that moment, that's where a lot of the accidents can happen. These horses and these bulls, it's particularly even more so the bulls now, they are trained from a young age to buck. They are started out as yearlings and 2-year-olds to enter the chute, to know that the chute is a place that they can stand and they can wait to be saddled, they can wait to receive the rider, and then they can execute their mission once the gate is open. And if you are attending amateur events, sometimes they don't have that luxury of having those animals that have been through all that training that we do. Even the roping cattle that are going out have an element of training to them so that they shoot straight. Same with the steer, wrestling cattle. The trick is to balance freshness. So you do want horses and the bulls to have time off. Also, that with your roping cattle, you want them to be fresh and not stale, because if they anticipate, they can decide not to run out or they can take a slower run at it, and that affects the evenness of the playing field that we need. So in the case of our roping cattle, we even bring in a scale, make sure that they're right sized for the contestant that's going to be working with them, checking all those boxes, and that's an added expense for us, but we just take that extra measure here so that we can have the most competitive, even playing field for it. And the other thing that we do is that we allow permit holders for men and women's events, which is not usually done. So women and men have equal prize money and playing field here in Missoula.
So this is the Western Montana Fair, not just the Missoula County Fair. Can you tell us a little bit about what in your mind that means, thinking of ourselves in a more regional scale?
Well, we have room to grow. I would say that primarily right now we are still the Missoula County Fair until we have our campus fully built out. We need that new livestock facility and equestrian center in order to actually bring in that open class component of the Western Montana Fair. Right now, anything open class in the Western Montana Fair is a show and go almost. We don't have room right now for llamas. We have llama interest, but we can't bring them in. We are hosting our breeding hogs in a tent on the tarmac, and we do our best to just keep it wet and cooled off. We're bursting at the seams, and we are waiting to see what our new livestock facility could look like and who our partners could be in that facility so that it is servicing all of the community year-round.
And speaking of servicing the community year-round, we've been talking about the fair event, but you've got stuff going on out there at the fairgrounds all year round. Do you want to remind folks of what's going on out there? Yeah.
We're totally activated. In fact, the postman came in the other day and he's like, how in the world are you still doing that? So basically from April on, we have something every weekend, and we overhauled our rental client base in a way that allows for large community connecting events that take over the entire campus. They can book sooner and cheaper than, say, a private event. We're not against weddings, but we hope you only have the one. And so that makes you a one-off client, and we have to do a lot of hand-holding for that. So we backfill with things like banquets and weddings after we have those community event calendars set, and that's what allowed us to bring in something of size and scale as Zootown Music Festival. So, this year we started out in April with the Quilters Guild show, and then we had the University Rodeo, then we have Jackson Construction brought in Missoula Under Construction, and then we had several markets. We have the 406 Consignry Market, the Little Red Truck Market, and now we've peppered in the Big Sky Gun Show. Then we have the Five Valley Kennel Dog Show. That is pretty big, and that was one that had a bit of rain, so it impacted the grass strip just a little bit. After the dog show left, we had the Zootown Festival set up, and they're in and out within a week. Then 2 days after Zootown was over, we had MizCon, which activated the north and south ends of the fairgrounds, which was a much larger footprint than Zootown. Then after that, we have to shut down. In the best tourism months, we have to shut down the Western Montana Fair because we're limited on labor from July to September. We just can't physically unload, set up the fair, and clean up after the fair with the staff that we have. So we're looking at ways to become more efficient. Either that's through new equipment purchases of where livestock panels are set up quicker and faster, or other things that we can do so that we can start bringing back more rental clients in those months, meaty months of July and August and September, become more efficient in the Western Montana Fair. And again, I'm not advocating for a new livestock equestrian center, but yes, I am advocating for a new livestock equestrian center, because if we had that compartmentalized over here, we could then just activate the 25 display cases we need for the commercial building. So there's all kinds of ways to look at how we can improve our operations internally and externally, because we are drawing a lot more events.
How can folks get involved with the fair?
Through the Green Team right now, because with the 8-day fair, we have transitioned most of our volunteer opportunities to be with nonprofit groups. So, for instance, Queer Prom has taken over all ticket scanning. They then go out there and look for partners to help them ticket scan. In trade, they get buildings to rent for their Queer Prom event. They also get cash from the county. The same with our ushers. We took Kiwanis and we put them in charge of ushering, and so we've just moved into a more service club base, and we found new groups, like we have rugby checking you for those internal stakeholders entering our parking lot, so there'll be a more rigorous check there, and things like that. So the only individual, like I want to help with the Western Montana Fair, is at this point the Green Team.
And what's the Green Team?
The Green Team is the team that has spearheaded all the recycling, composting, and trash sorting that you see at the Western Montana Fair. When we partnered up with Home Resource and Missoula Compost, what happened was this wonderful education opportunity, because we had 5 days of the Western Montana Fair at the time, And people went one day of the fair. They saw the hard work put in by these volunteers. The next day they were like, we get the assignment. And they started sorting their own trash. They started taking care of things. And by the third day, we weren't sorting trash anymore. And then that bled over into River City Roots Fest. That bled over now into Zootown. So the green team now, the fair is kind of the cutting edge. Like, we're going to incorporate this new policy for sorting trash, and we're going to practice it then the rest of the time in other locations. And we share all of our resources, from our containers to our signage and everything. So you can go to westernmontanafair.com, be a member of the green team, and you're part of something that's really special that I've not seen going through all the other stock shows in the nation that I get to attend. I'm hoping to invite some of those folks from, Fort Worth and San Antonio up here so that they can see how we take care of trash, and that it actually turned into what is the gardens next to us at the Rocky Mountain Gardens and Exploration Center, and how I think we're at 80% of trash diversion from the trash.
Landfill?
Mm-hmm, from the landfill. So we want to be at 90, and we're actually adding another component to the back of house, which is probably too much detail for y'all, but after we think we've done it, we're going to do it again. We're going to do our own weighing before it actually leaves on the trucks. And we're going to see, we really do think we are at 90%, but it's reporting at 80.
Ah, fantastic. So as a kid, 4-H was something that I've always associated with the Western Montana Fair. So tell us, how can we better support 4-H?
Well, the numbers there are growing. I think they're up by 100, and it's been extraordinary to have the extension office on the fairgrounds. Like, I've never seen that done anywhere else. And to see the Jerry Marks Exploration Center just activated till 10 o'clock every night with the 4-H kids coming in doing their projects has just strengthened the fair.
And that physical space will be used again this fair season.
You bet. So this will be the second year that the Jerry Marks building will be open, hosting exhibits. So you'll find all the 4-H exhibits on the first floor in the balsam root room. Then on the first floor in the Lupin Lab, you'll have the agriculture exhibits. And then on the third floor, for the first time ever, the demonstration kitchen, which is gorgeous, is going to house all the culinary exhibits. And we have all new coolers to set that space apart. So you get to spend a lot of time in air conditioning this year as well, I will say. We have a sponsor. REIC Equipment is air conditioning the commercial building for the first time ever. It's never been air conditioned before.
Oh, wow.
So are they hauling in
Yes.
a unit or units?
Yes,
So
they
no
now-
longer just the big old swamp cooler thing?
No. Mm-mm. Full and proper air conditioning in the exhibit hall. Yep.
Excellent.
Wow.
When you said the commercial building, I was starting to break out in a sweat already. But
The only buildings not air conditioned will be the show ring and the culinary building, which we are working on different names for
changing the name.
Some of those names, they're confusing, but is because it's the bar. We need you warm. So.
Well, where can folks go to buy arena tickets and get more information?
They can get that at westernmontanafair.com and only buy tickets from the westernmontanafair.com. As any ticket that you're buying elsewhere, we have found that you're paying sometimes 2 and 3 times more money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, your tickets are not expensive. They're at westernmontanafair.com. If you're buying them somewhere and they are not sending you your ticket seat right away, that's because they're scamming you. Do not buy from Google. Google is how people end up with the wrong tickets. They just Google Western Montana Fair tickets and think that they're going to get them. What's happening is you're getting spam. So be sure you go to the exact URL of the westernmontanafair.com or come down to the office.
Oh, and we forgot to ask about exhibitors. And it's probably going to be a little too late because that date is closing, but tell us how that works.
Sure. So exhibiting is free to enter. It's not like a gallery or anything else where you have to put an entry fee in. Entering the Western Montana Fair is always free. And we do have time now. You can still get those chocolate chip cookies in, anything baked, any canned goods. All your culinary departments, agriculture departments can still take entries up until July 31st. But the tabletop art, quilting, most of those pieces are going to close on July 16th. And for those that do well, we pay out, $25 for grand champion, and then $15 for reserve, and $10 for first place. And if you enter the most in the department and you're the high point earner, then you get another $100. So, I mean, it's a great way, and you're always competing against your own peers. So the youth groups are divided into 3, and the adult groups are divided into 3. We've added a professional and a teachers division so they can compete against themselves. So you are only competing against those in your own age and ability.
Shall the commissioners come up with an entry this year of some sort? What do you think?
Oh, we should. We can't make this decision without Slotnick.
Oh, and we got to publicly notice what it is that we're working on.
Right.
I forgot. Is there anything that we've not asked that you'd like to get a plug in for?
I would say that we are adding a 4-way stop at Stevens Avenue and South Avenue. So all public parking to the Western Montana Fair will be handled through the Sentinel School Band. And that's why we're sending like about 20 people to Europe now. All those proceeds go to them. And there is a 4-way stop that'll be activated temporarily at South Avenue and Stevens. And when you come into the fairgrounds and park, you're going to want to remember that you're probably leaving a different way so that we don't have people trying to swim upstream at the end of the night. Follow the exit signs. Again, we have our partners at REIC Equipment that are helping us with that. So
excellent. Well, before we close today, in our standard tradition, anything that you'd like to share with us in terms of something inspirational, nugget of wisdom, good book, bit of culture?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just grateful for the partners we have on the fairgrounds. We are going through growing pains, but it takes a lot of people to make this all happen. So the Department of Ecology and Extension, fabulous partners, like they're heading up and spearheading things that we couldn't lift from the office. They got the ADA parking handled. They got wheelchairs for those senior citizens that, or other individuals who might be feeling a little too hot. Handled. The Department of Risk and Benefits, that they take over the safety component for us. They, with watching over the carnival inspector, they take daily tours around the food trucks, cords, hoses. They kind of keep the 4-H kids in line. Let's remember to coil those things up. And then we have, Glacier Ice Rink has been on the campus for 30 years, and they have been there to grow their facility, and then they have to tear it down. And it is something that is just, if you think of a small business, you run a business all year, then all of a sudden you have to tear it down. That piece is so critical for us to go forward with the livestock. Livestock has only 30 days on the fairgrounds campus. In order to grow livestock, we're going to have to grow that footprint. In order for hockey to grow, they want to stay up year round. So, I mean, we're just so grateful that we still have a relationship where we can say, we can move in, use their space, and then same and have it reciprocated. In addition to that, we have the Butterfly House now that's also in the same space where they need to have operating a business in the middle of a event center. So when you come to the Western Montana Fair and you pay for your parking with the Sentinel Band, they're going to give you a coupon that you can go ahead and take into the Butterfly House and validate your parking for the first 50 people of every day. So as soon as you buy your ticket to the Butterfly House, you get your $10 back for your parking. If you're not one of the 50 first people to come in, well, then you can still use that coupon to buy one, get one free for use in the September and October at the Butterfly House. So just working with our partners as we grow. We have the Zootown Festival, and people are pretty excited about that, and it's a real head turner. But we're about to add more of these concerts in a smaller scale, so we really do rely on our partners and our neighborhoods. We'll walk out into the neighborhoods as soon as the fair is over and debrief from them too, and make sure they tend to love that Zootown Festival more than the fair, because Zootown Festival folks are still using designated parking. Fairgoers have been coming for 75 years. They kind of know where the neighborhood parking is, and they tend to use it a little bit more. So think of the Sentinel Band when you're dodging the $10 parking fee.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Billy. Great to have you back. A lot of exciting things going on. Folks should visit westernmontanafair.com. Don't use .org. You might be buying tickets for Valley County Fair if you do that. But westernmontanafair.com. And look forward to all of the fun happenings that are on the horizon.
Thanks again for sharing
Thanks,
the story.
everyone.
Thanks for listening to The Agenda. If you enjoy these conversations, it would mean a lot if you'd rate and review the show on whichever podcast app you use.
And if you know a friend who would like to keep up with what's happening in local government, be sure to recommend this podcast to them.
The Agenda with the Missoula County Commissioners is made possible with support from Missoula Community Access Television, better known as MCAT, and our staff in the Missoula County Communications Division.
If you have a question or a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email it to communications@missoulacounty.us.
To find out other ways to stay up to date with what's happening in Missoula County, go to missoula.co/county updates.
Thanks for listening.